Hey, everybody. Welcome to another live stream we're doing here in the Podcast Editor Club and in YouTube. We're going to be talking today about all the things that we're going to be doing and Podfest is going to be doing in January of 2023. This probably will be my third, because one of them wasn't in person. So it was my third in-person Podfest. No, maybe it's my fourth. I can't remember now. But it's a fantastic conference for podcast editors, even though it's focused on podcasters in the most part. If we're lucky, we're going to have Chris Krimitsos. He's the Chief Content Officer, I think is what his official title is. He's the founder of Podfest, and he'll be joining us a little bit later on to maybe give us a little more insight, because there's a different type of ticket style. Actually, there's two different ones that they're offering this year. So I'll make sure that you understand what there is. And for the people who are watching the live stream, I'm going to be giving away a VIP pass. So I'm really excited to be able to bring somebody from our community there for free. I mean, basically, you're going to get in for free. You're going to get all the perks of a VIP pass. So I'm going to be giving away one of my tickets. I got a VIP ticket to give away to somebody who is here in the chat. In fact, Michael Jerry is here. Hello, Michael Jerry. If you're in the chat, don't forget, before you comment, please give StreamYard permission to show your face and your name, just like I did Michael Jerry here. And that's at StreamYard.com/ oh, wait, that's not the one. Anyway, Daryl's here. 2 Academy members is great. Anyway, StreamYard.com/Facebook will be the place you go. And then you'll come back and I'll be able to show your face and your comment along with your name. So Podfest 2023, it's going to be in January, end of January, 26th through 29th. It's going to be at the Renaissance Hotel in Orlando. In fact, here, let me just go ahead and that's what the Renaissance looks like from the outside. And we'll be having a lot of things going on there, including what I'm going to bring Chris Krimitsos in for here in a second, which is the activities that the Podcast Editor Academy is really excited to do, which is giving networking opportunities and coaching opportunities to podcast editors that will be helping podcasters. And that's where you get to be involved as a viewer. Good to see everybody here. Chris is here. Hey, Chris, I was just emailing Chris the other day. It's really good to see her here as well. And then Facebook user, if you can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, StreamYard.com/Facebook, that'll allow me to show your name. So Podfest in Orlando, January. What's wrong with that? 26th through 29th. It's a good couple of weeks after the New Year's holiday celebrations are done. It's a couple of weeks before Valentine's Day. What excuse do you not have to go? So I'm going to bring Chris Krimitsos in. He is it the Chief Content Officer? What's the actual title of you?
That's good. I mean, you could go for that. Chief Creative Officer is usually what I go
Creative. By. Thank you. Creative and content, they go together because you're creating content. So
oh yeah. You got the right initial, that's for sure. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
How's my hair?
Me too.
And I wore my podcasting, my Libsyn shirt. I just love that says #podcasters. So simplistic.
Yeah. I'm wearing a short sleeve. I don't know if anybody can see it now, but of course, I'm pretending like it's Orlando and it's not 40 degrees outside here with the leaves falling in St. Louis, Missouri.
It's 80. You see it's about 80 outside here.
Yeah, stop. But that's what we can expect if we're going to go to a Podfest in Orlando, right?
We were sweating last night for Halloween. Let me tell you.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah, it's either a cool. You remember the cool ones because every 3 years it's cool outside. Yesterday it was like 87.
Yeah,
but yeah, Orlando in January is going to be nice.
Yeah, definitely be better than some of the times we've been there for other conferences in the middle of August and July and stuff like that.
Yeah, it gets hot. Yeah,
humid. The humidity is what it is. Okay, we've had our weather report for the day. Now we can cross it off the list. So before we get into the things that the Podcast Editor Academy is arranging with you, I wanted you to go ahead and explain the different types of tickets and passes that podcasters can get in order to attend Podfest and what that gives them.
Yeah, so this year we really sectioned it off to make sure that we service our community the best we can. So we have an Expo/Emerging Podcaster pass. So that allowed us to lower the price lower than we ever have before. We used to start at $200 plus. It's a $99 ticket. That is for people that have not started a podcast or consider themselves fairly new and they still need help. And on the show floor, we will have 2 tracks of education going on where they could get help, but also talk to a lot of the exhibitors And that's base level. Let's call that the Expo Pass. Then we have the Creator Lounge, and those are the people that are active creators. They know how to create. They don't need help on how to set up a feed. They've already gone through that. But now their biggest hang up is they might need an editor. They need some tech support. They want audience growth, monetization. Maybe they want to add video. So the Creator Lounge is where all the active creators will be. And we'll have about 5 rooms there. But then we have creators that have hit 1,000 downloads or more per show. And we have a room for them. It's called Podfest Influencer. And that's where we really help them hone in on collabing with each other, monetizing. And then we have what's called Podfest Pro. And those are the people that are doing well over 5,000 an episode. So the cool part is we're able to service each podcaster and meet them where they're at. But then we have activities where we all get together and connect. And we see the podcast editor community as the backbone. Without our editors, think about all the questions that editors have to answer over and over. Sometimes, the craziest questions, and they're very kind answering it as if it was the first time. But we see the editors as the backbone of this community, because without editors, many of these creators can't create their art form. So to us, we see this as a crucial part of the Podfest community. And we're just excited. But now, Steve, each level of creator has something. And what's happened in many of these conferences, as they get bigger, you forget about different individuals and their needs. Especially, believe it or not, beginners sometimes will go into these more advanced programs. And I have had them in tears after saying, I just came here. I wanted to get started. So we want to make sure that they get what they need, as well as the last couple of years, these podcasters, some of them are doing really well. Many editors know they have a client or two that's doing really well. Well, that's a room where they could compare notes and make sure they're getting a fair shake from the networks. At the base of it, it's us helping the independent content creators at whatever level they're at and making sure we get them the help that they need to grow their shows and their audiences.
So it's more like gathering people at different experience levels or stages of the podcast.
Yeah, I call it seasonality, but 100%. Yeah.
Seasonality. Okay. So getting, the beginners, the people want to begin over here, and the people who've already launched and want to get going really well is over here. And then the ones who've already pretty much gotten past the point of, well, I don't need to know what an RSS feed is. I've been doing it for 10 years. They've got a place for sessions and things that they're going to be looking at.
Yeah, correct. You're right. Like Glenn the Geek has 14 or I don't know, he's done like 4,000 episodes. He might want to connect with someone else that's going through the same thing. And unfortunately, when you have 2,000 people, it's tough for those people to find each other. They do at Podfest, don't get me wrong. But how cool would it be for them to be in the room to compare notes, and then they go hang out with everybody. So everybody gets what they need. Yeah.
And that's definitely the key is it's not trying to keep people away from other places. It's just that you're driving people into a certain, I don't want to say it that way. It's getting more of the things that people need in the areas where they're going to be hanging around. And then later on.
100%. Yeah. I used to think, I always resisted this idea, but the truth is they have different needs set, and we're trying to service the needs set. And then at the end, everybody's hanging out with another. It's not meant to be elite or elitism. It's just meant to say, hey, this person has these needs. Let's get them taken care of. Then we're all hanging out after and collaborating and doing all kinds of things. But we are placing a huge emphasis on promo swaps. So we're educating our community to understand what a promo swap is, how to help one another, because that's probably one of the fastest ways you could grow your show. And it doesn't cost anything, but it does cost the time for you to get to know someone and spend time at these events. So we want to make sure there's congruence there. And we'll have networking this year every day, some kind of networking exercise. So if you're coming by yourself, there's no excuse for not to meet someone. We'll make sure it's easy on our end. So that's one of our goals this year. So we really looked at this past year's conference, and we did a deep dive, and we said, we got to do things a lot more smoother for our community. How could we add more value and make sure everybody's intentionally getting what they need?
Yeah. The networking things where everybody's going to get together and be able to just mingle. And of course we can do our lunches, the evening parties, the after events, all that stuff. The late night lobby parties.
We have a lunch and learn pass this year. So if you want to buy lunch and hang out in the expo hall and eat lunch and learn from a top expert, just buy the lunch and learn pass. That way you don't have to worry about lunch.
Yeah.
And that includes the gratitude brunch on Sunday. So we've we really looked at this, Steve, and said, how can we make the experience easier for everybody and streamline it? So that's what we've done.
Wait, you said gratitude brunch on Sunday. Oh, I'm actually here. Let me go ahead and show everybody. I've got the let me just my way through this whole thing. This is the schedule. It's just the outline. Of course, you have detailed the outline of the schedule. So Wednesday the 25th, you get to meet and greet at night, but everything's going on during the day. Oh, that's Thursday. I'm sorry. So Wednesday is when people start to show up, and then they've got the
early bird show up Wednesday night. So we want to make sure that we have something for them. So we'll announce, hey, meet in the atrium. We're all hanging out, and probably, you get a couple hundred people hanging out.
Yeah, I'll probably make the podcast editor meet up that time.
That's some of the best networking, by the way. Steve knows. Yeah. See, he's already knows those like that's when you get the best networking.
Yep. Oh, I went too big. Okay, so then we've got Thursday. You got a couple other things here. The Pikachu, which are like the 5-minute talks. Yeah. Man, those are fun. All kinds of things, and then Fridays when a lot of
Thursday Expo Hall opens at 3. If you could just focus on that, so that's key. That's where all Expo passes, everybody opens. So I would say that would signify the official opening of the show. People get in that around that time. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the official date that you're starting Podfest is the 26th.
Yes. Yeah. Thursday. Yep.
And we've got more stuff on Friday. Full house of things to do. Signature after party, of course. And then we've got Saturday full of events. And then I guess you said Sunday is a gratitude brunch ceremony. And if anybody's been to Podfest,
hang out with us, gratitude brunch. That's if you want to have. I love when that does that. The Etcher-Sketch.
That's me.
That's cool. So that Sunday is the people. Listen, you've come from far and wide. Hang out with us. And for those that haven't been at Podfest, the folklore goes in year 2 of Podfest in 2016. We didn't want to leave. No one wanted to leave. We had one gentleman that was like a trucker who was sitting in the front row, and he was about to cry. And I was like, I saw that he was getting emotional. He goes, I don't normally get emotional. I go, I could tell. I go, why are you getting emotional? He goes, I don't feel like I want to leave. It was such a great experience. And that's when I put 2 microphones up on stage and said, hey, if anyone wants to share what they're grateful for. In that moment, I felt like it sucks for us just to leave. So we put the mics up, and then people started lining up and sharing what they were grateful for. And they would say, oh, Steve wasn't there year 2. He was there shortly thereafter. But they'd be like, Steve helped me out in the back. He didn't see this, but he did XYZ for me, and I didn't know how to do it. And we heard all these great stories that happened over the 2 days. So since then, our closing keynote is the community itself. So Sunday mornings will be our gratitude brunch. For those that want to stay over, it's just something that I think would be amazing for anyone that's hanging out. And then you go see the theme parks if you're in Orlando, do whatever you want to do, but we'll have a good time in the morning with each other.
Or they could plan going ahead of time. Either way, midweek in Orlando, hit the parks when nobody else is there.
That's probably smarter, actually.
Yeah, and then Sunday is just kind of like decompress the rest of the day and then hit your flight.
I'm a big. I don't know if anyone's a Gatorland fan. I'm a big Gatorland. I know some people like. There's Harry Potter as well, and all the different theme parks. But Gatorland to me is just one of the coolest places.
Right. I'm going to be giving away a VIP pass, but if anybody wants to go ahead and secure their ticket, I've got a page for resources. In fact, I'm going to put a little QR code in the top right if it's not blocking Chris's head. Where did I put that thing? Here it is. Oh, good. It's not blocking your face. Good.
No. Before it was.
That'll take them to a blog post with all the resources that we have so far listed. And on there's got this discount code at the bottom. So if you want to buy a pass at a discount, it's 20% off. That's our exclusive discount that Chris arranged for us. I'll be giving away a VIP pass today to somebody who's in the chat. And then the other opportunities that we're going to be doing is the Podcast Editor Academy and myself have 2 things that we're going to be doing. One is setting up the Asking the Editor booth. And if anybody remembers Podcast Movement, She Podcast Live, that's where I sponsored a booth, which really wasn't much of a booth. It was more like just I wouldn't even say it was a kiosk. It was an area where podcast editors could staff or be there. And then podcasters could come up and ask any question in the world, anything they want to know about podcasting. I mean, it's great to go to sessions and learn about stuff, but then if you come with a question and it's not directly related to the topic, you may not ask it while you're in the session and then it's over. Here, you can actually get the attention of a podcast editor who's in attendance and be able to learn from them. And we, podcast editors, we look like the experts to them because you're answering their questions. And if you don't know the answer, there are other people there who you're going to be able to call on or direct them to later. I mean, I remember She Podcast Live, somebody was asking me about Logic Pro. And I was like, oh, Stevie Manns is here. She's a Logic Pro expert. So I made sure that we hooked up Stevie Mann's with this person later on that day, and they got their questions answered. It was fantastic. Great networking opportunities there. The other thing, Chris, I think you're going to have to explain this one. I keep calling it the coaching corner, although I don't. That's the official title, and that's something that I've gotten the permission from Jessica Kufferman, who used that title at the first She Podcast Live, which is more of well, here, I'll let you just explain it.
Well, in the creator area where all the creators will be, there's a huge hallway, and we're not setting up any booths except for the podcast editors area will be there. So the cool part is the people that have started a show, they know what they're doing for the most part, but they need help. They will be able to go hit up that area and ask an editor for help, information. And for me, it'll make it very easy for me to say, hey, I'm glad that you learned about this tech, but if you really need further help, go talk to the podcast editors. They could get you the help you need right away. And I think it's going to be really great for people to come talk and interact with our editors in the community, because you'll be the only thing in that hallway as creators are going back and forth to rooms. And we can make it a thing where it's like, hey, if you really need help, that's what they're there for. Go talk to them. And there's quite a few people that are realizing they can't do everything. They need help from editors, and they need to level up and maybe get an editor on their team.
Yeah, and the way I would differentiate what Chris is talking about now versus the Ask an Editor booth is that's going to be more technical, where we're going to bring our laptops, bring a headphone or two and a splitter with you. I remember last year we at an Ask an Editor booth somewhere. I remember Luca had his laptop. He's kneeling down. He's got his headphones on. And he's sharing them with somebody else who's standing up, and he's showing them how to edit from the Ask an Editor booth. So this is what we're going to try and do, is make an Ask an Editor station where you've got your gear, where you can explain, show things, and you only need to be there for like an hour or two. And I'm going to have a sign up sheet available at a later time. Once Chris gets me the actual hours of when we can do this, and I haven't asked, I probably should ask you this first, but I'll ask you on email later, Chris. What are the hours for this? And then I'll be able to have people sign up, volunteer what hour or hours that they want while we're at Podfest.
Yeah, Steve, I'll get that over to you and we'll collaborate. But because you're in the creator lounge, that there'll be as many as you'd like. But there'll be a lot of time.
Cool. Got some questions here. Leah's in the chat. She just hasn't given stream permission to show her face. Yeah. Angela has a great question. Do I need a separate ticket in order to attend the brunch?
So the brunch is part of the Lunch and Learn pass. But if you'd like to be part of the gratitude, you don't have to eat brunch. You just come out. We're not keeping people away from the gratitude sessions. But it's if you want the brunch, it's just included in the Lunch and Learn pass.
If you want the food.
Yes, correct. So, thank you. If you want the food, the gratitude part, there's no need to buy food to be there. But in case you want to partake in the brunch, buy lunch the 2 days before and includes the brunch.
Right. And then the next question's for me, but I want to change the background.
It'll be on our system, obviously. So.
Yeah. And then Angela's got another question. Is the Podcast Editor Academy separate from Podfest Expo? Yes and no. Think of it as we're taking a little group and we're we're going to be at Podfest. I'm currently doing my own podcast. Am I eligible to attend? Does it cost extra? Okay, so Podfest is the ticket you need to buy. Doesn't cost you anything to participate in anything that I'm arranging. The Ask an Editor booth, the cost is your time and your expertise to help others. And the coaching corner, obviously, you need to have a basic understanding of many of the podcast things that make a podcast run. Although even if it gets really technical, you're going to be able to draw on somebody else's expertise, so you can still help us there. But if you think about it, it's just that we're all going to this place. In fact, if you look at the thing behind it, this is a picture of the inside, I guess. Chris?
Yeah, the atrium, it's beautiful. It's lit. It's huge.
Yeah, the atrium of the this is the Renaissance Orlando at SeaWorld with the register mark at the end.
Well, by the way, we have been asked this question. Do the profits for the hotel go to SeaWorld? They do not. It's two separate entities, even though they're associated.
Okay. I didn't see that question, so I didn't know how to ask it. Sorry. So hopefully, Angela, that answered your question. Just we're basically I'm renting a space like a booth. That's just something that I committed to doing as COVID hit, because I want to make sure that the podcast conferences and the conferences I believe in still get the support after this horrendous event. And
Thank you, by
then
the way, Steve, for doing that, for
it's
stepping up.
my pleasure. I mean, last year we were
We
so busy
appreciate it.
doing the experiential track that, I didn't have it. Angela says I have a credit pass. Great. It's awesome. So Angela's going to be coming.
Angela's awesome. She's an amazing community member.
I'm trying to think if I've bumped into Angela before, and I don't think I have. So,
She's got amazing energy. The VIP room is right behind us, actually. In the atrium, there'll be a raised VIP area. It's gonna be cool.
Somewhere behind here, okay.
Yeah, literally behind our heads. It's raised up. It's pretty cool. We'll be sending pictures out.
Well, if I take my camera out, then nobody can see anything. So I don't know.
It goes my.
Yeah, so I'm going to be creating the resources, which the QR code in the top corner there, you'll see you can scan it with your phone, or you can go ahead and you can use the link that I'm putting here right now. Take you to that page. It's got a link to a room share document. It's got a link to, I'm trying to think of all the things I've got to. It's got a link to where you can get 20% off of the pass to attend any of the 3 levels that Chris was talking about. Or the lunch and learn or the lunch ticket, I guess it's called. You even have your t-shirts available through purchase there with a discount. And then if you already know that you need to rent a room, I've got a link there on how to reserve the room through it works through
it's really cool.
Chris's block of rooms.
This is great, Steve. I'm looking at it. It's amazing what you put together.
Thank you. Wait till I have it all in there.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because signing up for the Ask an Editor booth and for the coaching corner, or whatever we call it, then is the 2 more big things I've got to put together. And that's going to be a lot of work on my end, but I can't wait because I really like having the opportunity for podcast editors to mingle with podcasters in a way where, it could create a relationship that turns into a working relationship. That's really important to me. Cool. All right. Is there anything else that I've forgotten to tell them, like transportation, or what are some of the common questions you get when talking to somebody who hasn't been to Podfest?
You already did the room share, which is great. That document's going to help people. Check out the schedule. That's going to be awesome. That we'll be putting up more on the schedule. We're going to be posting up speaker pictures. We just put that out there. But honestly, Steve, I would say for this community, contact Steve, because we're excited to have the editors exposed to the entire community. And the way we arrange it this year, I think is going to be conducive for everybody, for cross flow of, and shout out to Luca, by the way. I don't know if you know this, Steve, but he does Katie's podcast, and she loves it. And I know he's in the UK, so shout out to him. He's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's been to a few of these conferences, which is fantastic. When he's from Serbia? No, where's he from? I forget where he's from originally.
Well, now he's in the UK, but yeah, I think you were. I don't want to make a mistake there, but anyways, he's amazing, and he always helps people when he's at Podfest, and just he does such a good job on Katie's meditations. He's amazing.
Oh, last question. Will everything be going on the Hoova app like we do in the past?
Absolutely. We have Hoova. We're going to keep the tradition alive. I would say check out those meetups. Steve knows all about it, but the editors will have meetups, and Steve's organizing everything. However, there's other meetups that maybe, you're there and you want to learn about something. It's not unusual for someone like a huge live streaming expert. Someone's like, hey, we're all meeting up over here. Come check it out. So those are really fun to see what people create and what pops off. So that app is amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. Sometimes you can't keep up, especially when it just like full
crazy.
day one. It's like starting to roll, and then Friday it'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. So you want to, I'll be giving a quick little video on how I use the Hoova app, and that's all in the planning stages, because I like to get my schedule on my Google Calendar. I like to have it in 2 places then. So the app and the Google Calendar, and then of course planning out meetups and things like that I want to go to as an attendee, and not necessarily trying to organize myself.
Yeah, we Hoova app is just phenomenal, but you're right. It's when it gets going, it's kind of crazy.
Yep. And Hoova is WHOVA, I think is how it's. So if people, we'll have a link to it, so you don't have to spell it.
We had 2 people, Steve, you'll appreciate this, because our crowd loves Hoova. We've used this app so much now that our crowd is like the resident, like you know it better than most. We had to ask Hoova, the company, to unfreeze a couple of accounts. they used it so much that they thought it was bots communicating with other human beings, and we had to tell them like, no, this is Jody. She's like our #1 ambassador, and here's the other person. They're not bots. They're just very active in the app. And they're like, this is not normal. I go, well, this community is a little bit abnormal. We have so many amazing people helping each other. They thought it was a bot helping, but it was a real person.
And Christy says voice to text as well. That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Angel's got another question. Then Chris, I'm going to let you go. If I'm arriving on Wednesday, can I check in to see if I have enough knowledge to help with any editing? Well, I guess it's a question for me. Just meet up with me. It doesn't have to be about editing. The questions that we're going to be addressing or answering to podcasters at the Ask an Editor booth is not necessarily about editing. The opportunity to meet and network with people is about the services that we provide other people, but it doesn't mean we have to talk about editing. You could be talking about anything in the podcasting space. You could be talking about vlogging. Heck, if you want to talk about Bitcoin, I ain't going to turn you away, because Chris has a lot of Bitcoin people at his conferences. So, yeah. Oh, Michael Jerry wants to know, will there be sessions related to video? Have you seen
we have a video track?
A whole video track? Is it going to be VidFest or just a video track?
No, I think we're going to call it like presented by VidFest, but it's right now we're keeping everything under the Podfest umbrella. Makes it easier for everybody. But we do have a whole video track of the best of the best. So it's exciting.
All right. And I think I had one more question for you. Now I can't think of what it was. Hold on, Chris. I'm going to get it up here because I know I had it in the notes.
Steve, the tracks just off the top of my head in the this is in the Creator Lounge, because remember, there's 2 tracks going on in the expo show floor. Tech, audience building. There's a panel track, and that's panels, so each panel is a different topic. Monetization and video. And then I think we even have a wild card, and those are things that we didn't want to put in a box, that just free flow. And if you want to go on the wild side, go into a wild card room and see what's going on. There's a lot of cool stuff there.
But those will be listed in the schedule too.
100%. It'll be all listed, but in case anyone's wondering.
All right, cool. Well, Chris, thank you very much for coming and talking about the different types of passes. Now I have an even better understanding of what they are and who they're for. Hopefully the people watching as well do. And stick around, folks, because I'm going to do the VIP giveaway here with a random number generator thing. So get ready to jump in the chat, and I'll need you to have given StreamYard permissions for me to see your name so I know who won. Chris, did you want to stick around for that?
Yeah, your call. I could jump off, or I could
jump off. You could.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for everything.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. Angela, we're super excited to see you. She's awesome. All right. Bye, Steve. Thank you,
Chris.
Again.
Thank you. All right. So here it is. We're going to do the giveaway now. And if I can get you just inside of the chat from wherever you are, YouTube or on in the Facebook group, I want you to put down a number that the number generator, and I'll show you the screen when I'm actually pulling the number to get closest. And with going over, it's not like Price is Right or wherever. You can get as close as you can to the number that the number generator picks from 1 to 50. So go ahead and put your guess in there. A number from 1 to 50 that the random number generator picks, and the person who is closest will win a free VI pass to Podfest. You have to be able to go to Podfest. You have to be able to go to Orlando, and that VIP pass is going to get you on all the things. So I've got 4 or 5 pie. Very good. Quite a few. I'll give another minute for people to put their answers in. Closest without the closest. And if I get 2 people the same number, I guess I'll have to give away 2 passes. That'll just be the curse of giving away tickets like this randomly. So from 1 to 50, and let me go ahead and get this set up here so I can do this for you in front of you for live. Now, the first number you see is not the one I generated, so don't freak out. I'm going to go ahead and give you 30 more seconds. Again, all of the information on what we're doing and what we're arranging, I'm going to be updating it. There's still more to go, but you'll be able to find it either at the QR code here in the corner or at this URL, podcasteditoracademy.com/PE for Podfest Expo resources. That's where we're going to put all that stuff. And I'll, of course, communicate in the Facebook group and through the newsletter at podcasteditoracademy.com/newsletter. That's right. Newsletter, PE resources, newsletter, PE resources. Okay. Everybody got their answers in? Here we go. So I can see the numbers here. Oh, Christy, sorry. We really like Christy. All right. Here's my screen. Here's the number generator. Let me make it really big so everybody can see it nice and clear. No, that is not the number we're picking. I'm going to generate it in 3, 2, 1, and the number is 17. And the person closest to the number 17 is Jennifer Longworth with 11. I think that's it. Yeah. Let me double check the numbers here. Although I really did think this was the best answer. Yeah, closest to 17. Jim Parsons was at, nope, there's a Facebook user 27. Yeah, Angela's 25. Jim Parsons was 8. So Jennifer Longworth, you win it with 11. So congratulations. I'm going to get you that ticket to Podfest, VIP pass. And I think that's all I have for you today. This is really just an introduction to the different things we're doing at Podfest. We want you to be involved. So, by the way, Jennifer, Jennifer, I know your email, so I'll contact you about getting that VIP pass. Anyway, we're going to sign off here in a minute, but the discount is still available if you wanted to go to Podfest. We'll also be giving away passes through the giveaway of the, Mark calls it the Advent calendar that we do every year. It's the 25 days of Christmas gift away. We gift away stuff, something different every single day. It might just be access to a course in the Podcast Editor Academy, so you don't have to be a member to watch it that day. It might be a piece of gear. We're going to be working with Heil and Focusrite and a couple other people to get gear, gifts of gear out there. And all you have to do is enter. So you'll be hearing more about that in the coming days. That's of course happening in December, so we're a full month away from that today. But that's everything I've got for you today. Thank you all for joining me. Michael Jerry, you're welcome. And Jim Person. You're right. I forgot there's a random number generator inside of StreamYard, so I did it the old school way. All right. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. If you want to make sure you're in touch with all the things that we're doing, make sure you're signed up for the newsletter and you're opening the newsletter announcements, because sometimes people sign up for the newsletter and then they never open them, and then they get, I forget what they call it. It's called inactive, and they don't get any more emails, because why would you send emails to somebody who never opens them? So make sure you're active in there. If you haven't been getting emails from me lately, then go ahead and go to podcasteditoracademy.com/newsletter. Sign up today, and you'll get a confirmation email, or you'll get something from me within a week. It's always coming out within a week. There's always something coming. I try not to bore you with too much details, but I think I put a lot of information in those newsletters to keep you informed about what's going on in the podcast editor space. All right. I think that's it. Let me see, make sure if there's anything else. You're welcome. You're welcome. Christy, yes. If you go to the resources, there is a link below everything that talks about the room share document, which you can get at podcasteditoracademy.com/PE room share. So just like this is newsletter, if you go to PE room share, that'll be the document for finding a roommate. And we've been using that now I've been using it since before I was going to Podfest, helping people at FinCon get roommates. So I think that's everything I've got for you. You're welcome. Thank you, Jim, for the tip. I'll remember next time. And y'all have a good day. I'll be talking to you soon.